so caught up in the day-to-day, just keeping your head down and fighting to survive. We float by each other like ghosts every day, ignorant to the struggle, the fight with one another. Complacent with the fact that our systems are broken, with the fact that the top 10 will always be first in line, the fact that we are killing our planet and allowing them to keep us divided. We must stand together and rise up. It's time we wake up, and that is a difficult truth.
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. Pro streamer was muted. It is scary. It's supposed to be. Howdy. Welcome everybody. Oops. Hope everyone has their favorite beverage, whether it be coffee or water, tea. How's it going? Spread it forward. How's it going, mister? I need water. Yes. Water's good. Water's good. Howdy. Alright, folks. We've got quite the summary of headlines we have to run through. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing alright. I'm chilling. Got my coffee, so I'm good to go. Jesus. The richest Americans failed to pay $163 billion in taxes, Treasury estimates. Nice. That's probably a conservative estimate, but we can go with that one. If you have the link, post it so we can go over the full thing. Alright, Democrats plow full speed ahead on sweeping Biden budget despite tensions. There are some in my caucus, who believe $3.5 trillion is too much. There are others in my caucus who believe it's too little. I mean, yeah. But okay. The top two Democrats said they're pushing forward with President Joe Biden's sweeping safety net expansion as the House committee circulates legislative text with hearings scheduled Thursday to start advancing major sections of the bill. We're moving full speed ahead, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told reporters on a call Wednesday. Yeah, we'll see about that. As we'll go over this one. We will see about that. The New York Democrat effectively cast aside calls by Senator Joe Manchin for a, quote, strategic pause in the process of crafting the bill as he voiced concerns about inflation and debt in a recent op-ed for the Wall Street Journal. Nice meme. Cool. Hey Thundera, how's it going? I don't know why chat in OBS isn't, come on chat. Hey Lee Spanner, how's it going? This article is a fluff piece, basically goes, rich people have enough money to hide their true wealth. True. IRS doesn't have enough money because the rich people don't pay their fair share, so they can't go after them. True. Yeah, also true, but it's very easy to audit us and some other stuff, how Biden is putting pressure on the wealthy to pay their fair share. Okie dokie. Good luck with that one. In other words, wealth rules and ruling is bad. No more rulers. Ruler is a weird word. True. Ruler is a weird word. Except I'm a ruler. Except for me, right? Except for me. Ruling is fine for me. It's okay. It's okay. Because I'm a benevolent authoritarian. That's right. I like this emote. I thought this was a democracy. Democracy? Democracy? Mm-mm. I rule this place with an iron fist. Oh man. Can I ask an off-topic question? I mean, it depends. It depends, Gilad Fried. Good talk. True. Go for it. Schumer is navigating demands by Manchin as well as President Manchin as well as Madam President Kirsten Sinema to reduce the price tag the Democrats set at a maximum of $3.5 trillion. What is your take on Israel-Palestine conflict? Or too off topic? I generally don't do like international news. I mean, I've talked like a little bit about it. I basically think that there are some troubling actions taken at that time. I don't know what this current status is. I do think that there are some disturbing actions being taken by the Israeli state. And I think that they have the capacity to fix this, and they should. Queen Crystal Cinnamon. Queen Crystal Cinnamon sticking it to the middle class. Yep, as she curtsies. Should we dive deeper into it or not? Nah, I'm not into I'm not educated enough in foreign policy to really understand it. Or I should say, I'm not educated enough in the Israeli-Palestine conflict to be comfortable to make assertions without the knowledge behind it. I mean, like, I just know what I saw. I saw very disturbing stuff. And, yeah, I mean, like, just an example, the bombing of the AP building. Not good. That's right. Queen Crystal Cinnamon. To reduce the price tag that Democrats set at a maximum of $3.5 trillion in the budget resolution. Which isn't, in the grand scheme of things, the $3.5 trillion for updated infrastructure, climate, allegedly climate initiatives, expansion of certain social safety nets, isn't really that big in the broad in the broad sense. There are some in my caucus who believe 3.5 trillion is too much, and there are some in my caucus who believe it's too little. We're going to work very hard to have unity, because without unity we're not going to get anything. Speaker Pelosi said on Wednesday the House is moving forward at the 3.5 trillion level. But she left open the possibility of a lower final price tag before the bill becomes law, while promising we will get the job done with a great bill that honors Biden's vision. Yeah, I don't care about, like, necessarily one person's vision. What I want is results. What I want is results. I mean, that's it. They should be negotiating with constituents. True. We will have our negotiations, Pelosi said when asked by NBC News if they could pass a bill at a lower amount. I don't know what the number will be. We are marking it at 3.5 trillion. We will pay for more than half, maybe all of the legislation. The remarks by Schumer and Pelosi point to a complicated balancing act facing a broad range of opinions, from centrist lawmakers skeptical of the price tag to progressives who believe that 3.5 trillion should be the minimum. Democratic leaders are also juggling an aggressive timeline by seeking to ready the bill by September 27th, the self-imposed House deadline to vote on a separate infrastructure bill to ensure progressives would support the latter. They're betting that Manchin can ultimately be won over on the substance of the package. Lawmakers and committees are keeping options open in the case the price tag needs to be cut. For instance, they privately discussed setting some provisions to expire sooner. Thesis. Manchin has been somewhat vague in his demands. He has not specified what price tag he would support or what provisions of the emergent bill he wants to cut. I have a guess. I have a guess as to which provisions he would want to cut. I think we can guess that one. His office did not have a comment when asked those questions on Wednesday. They should be negotiating with constituents. Everyone is so sick of the price tag arguments. The entire population has to be collectively exhausted watching them spend trillions on stupid shit. True. Like, this never comes up. This is never a problem when we try to set aside money for the military budget. This is never an argument. This is never a problem. When we set aside like hundreds of billions of dollars for the military, that's just never an argument. It just never comes up. But, you know, when it comes to like any type of expansion of the social safety net, when it comes to any type of meaningful improvement for Americans, all of a sudden, people become very concerned as to how we're going to pay for it, what the taxes are going to look like. Manchin has been somewhat vague in his demands. He has not specified what price tag he would support or what provisions he wants to cut. Ah, yes. In June, he said that he wants to make sure we pay for the bill. Okay? That's really weird because, like, this never comes up when it comes to, like, the military budget. Never. It just never happens. Well, how are we going to pay for it? Why do we need $760 billion? Do we need that? What's it being spent on? A source close to Manchin says he's a big proponent of targeting benefits on the basis of income and capping them so the money reaches the people who need it the most. Principles he believes are critical for Democrats' proposals on community college subsidies and on home-based care provisions for the disabled and elderly. Manchin also says he has issues with the climate change proposals in the legislation. Yeah. It's like as if people forgot. It's as if people forgot that just a couple of months ago, there was a expose where an ExxonMobil like lobbyist or something of that nature was literally saying, Joe Manchin is kingmaker here, and we have weekly calls with Joe Manchin. Although publicly we support climate change initiatives, privately we don't. And gee, wow, what an amazing coincidence. President Manchin has issues with the climate change proposals. Wow. I mean, it must be just like a unbelievable coincidence. Right? It must be just an unbelievable coincidence that he has a issue with climate change proposals. Again, it's as if people like just forgot that this happened a couple of months ago, and I want to reiterate that. I mean, God, it infuriates me when people have an argument where money doesn't have an undue influence in politics. or doesn't have the impact people think it does in politics. As we are watching live, the fossil fuel industry, ExxonMobil, lobby government, and then the government does what they lobbied for. Mansion might be Satan. True. Legalized bribery. Yep. In the top of our politics, but some people are in jail for weed. True. True, and that's the sad state of affairs in our quote. And I use this word liberally. Democracy. In our very, very stable, very safe, very, very hinged, a very, very working democracy, we have a single person holding up important legislation, and we have said single person being lobbied by an industry and producing results for that industry. Here it is. This isn't President Mansion. This isn't him. This is ExxonMobil getting its return on investment. This is ExxonMobil getting its ROI right here. That's what it is. Howdy, howdy, thinking Sabercat. We'll take a look at it. This is ExxonMobil getting its return on investment right here. As chairman of the Energy Senate and Natural Resource Committee, Manchin has major influence over the climate provisions. His committee was instructed to write legislation costing $198 billion for clean electricity programs, payment programs, consumer rebates to weatherize and electrify homes, creation of financing for domestic manufacturing of clean energy, and auto supply chain technologies and climate research. Okay, $198 billion. 3.5 trillion. Oh, yikes. What would happen if he didn't go through what Exxon paid him to do and he just kept the money in its campaign donations? Yeah, I mean, like, it would basically be for campaigning, and that's it. He could technically do that. Yeah, he could technically run off with the money and be like, alright, I'm campaigning on it. Thanks, guys. Cool. But, you know, they know. ExxonMobil didn't just, like, go up to AOC, right? Or, ExxonMobil didn't go up to, like, Bernie Sanders, right? They know. You know he lives on a houseboat? I don't know if he lives there, but I do know that he has one. I completely understand, Fifth Dimension. Good morning, afternoon. I'm frustrated by the seemingly inability for the US politics to get out of the mud and landmines. Nothing seems to follow a clear path. Yeah, I would say it's almost... At this point, I would say it's almost... It's almost as if our, like, institutions aren't really working as intended right now. Although they held during the Trump era. Barely, but they held. And that is a testament as to the robust abilities of our institutions. However, I think that they are severely broken. severely broken, particularly when it comes to the Senate, and it is creating these quote-unquote mud and landmines where we can't really get anything done. And remember, folks, for a healthier, functioning, more or less, democracy, we do need institutions to be strong. In other words, work as intended, and have guardrails. We do need transparency in our institutions. In other words, we need to know as a population as a whole, we need to know what's going on. And the third thing that we need is inclusivity, which means everybody, as many people as possible, need to participate. As a I could not agree more. As a foreigner speaking, we need the U.S. to get a good act going. True. True. Honestly, this right here is the Hail Mary. To get any type of climate legislation on the board, this right here is the Hail Mary. If the climate proposals and climate legislation does not make it in this reconciliation, in this budget reconciliation, I have a feeling that the momentum required will be hard to regain, and by that time it would be effectively too late.
Now more than ever, it's important for Americans to take care of their health. When it comes to protecting yourself against the COVID-19 virus, the FDA-approved vaccine might not be the right choice for patients who are allergic to reality.
Wait, now hold on. Okay, so just to be clear, this is satire, okay? I just want to make that abundantly clear.
That's why there's ivermectin, the COVID-19 treatment option for real patriots. With ivermectin, you can say nay to the FDA and take matters into your own hooves. Don't take ivermectin if you plan on driving, operating heavy machinery, or if you're wearing your good pants. Side effects of ivermectin can include uncontrollable vomiting and diarrhea,
True.
the inability to pronounce Kamala Harris's name, or a sudden urge to speak to the manager.
Oh,
Some
God.
patients...
Alright, nice meme. Nah, I can't endorse this. The reason why is, like, even though it's pretty funny, nah, like, I get it, it's satire, but nah, this is too serious. This is too serious. No, I don't. What is bad mouse? So hide Mia. I don't have links active in chat. Yeah, irked. Please don't. I think a way to fix America would break the union. Myself, let each act as their own country, and you'll see very quick changes in tax codes if if say Texas had to be self-sufficient. Well, we tried that. It didn't really work. Didn't really work out. What was it? The Articles of is it Federation? The Articles of Confederation where we had each individual state act like as a mini country, and all of them had their own like type of currency, and they all had their type of like, it was a nightmare trying to communicate between like everything, so it ended up just getting scrapped. Howdy, howdy. Hope this is not insulting, but right now the tail seems to be wagging the dog. I don't know what that means. Morning, morning. Howdy, howdy. Hope you're well. I hope you're doing alright. Well, he's not opposed to the overall bill. The source said he's going to shape the bill into what he feels is closer to the needs. The needs of who? To the needs of who? Oh, everything is backwards. Yeah. Well, yeah, everything is backwards. This is Bizarro world. We live in Bizarro world, unfortunately. He's going to shape the bill in what he feels is closer to the needs. Needs of who? Needs of ExxonMobil? People shouldn't read into it more than that. No, you're right. You're right. It's very simple. All he's doing is exactly what ExxonMobil wants him to do. That's it. People shouldn't really read into it more than that. I couldn't agree more. Senate Budget Chair Bernie Sanders said if the safety net package does not pass the $550 billion bipartisan infrastructure package, which Manchin co-wrote, will fail as well. He told reporters the $3.5 trillion was too low. True. Is this a Manchin Bernie showdown? It's kind of. It's more of a I mean, like, you know, Sanders is the budget committee, budget chair committee head, and he's always pushed for chairman. Yes, he's always pushed for an expansion of just like the safety nets and like Medicare and Social Security and the climate initiatives of this budget reconciliation. President Joe Manchin is on the opposite end of that. To my mind, this bill that is $3.5 trillion is already the result of major compromise. True. I mean, like, they've been at this for months now. And worst of all, or I should say, the most frustrating part about this is the heaviest hurdle that they've had to clear is their own party. The biggest hurdle that they have had to clear is their own party. Yeah, this is still over the infrastructure budget reconciliation, yes. Bernie is 80. Yeah, he's getting up there. He's getting up there. And at the very least, this bill should contain $3.5 trillion. Pelosi said slashing the cost would require making difficult policy choices. We have to talk about what does it take, where would you cut, childcare, family, medical medical leave paid for, universal pre-K, home health care. On Thursday, the House Committees on Ways and Means and Education and Labor will hold hearings on major portions of the bill they released this week. That includes 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave for all workers, expanding Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing benefits, universal pre-K for 3 and 4-year-olds, and 2 years of tuition-free community college. Republicans are united against the effort, leaving Democrats to pass the bill alone under narrow majorities. The package can bypass the Senate filibuster. Again, the most frustrating part about this is that the biggest hurdle that they've had to clear is their own party, which the Republican Party, generally speaking, does not have this problem. Okay? The Republican Party, generally speaking, does not have this problem at all. That's what's frustrating about this. Because the Republican Party, just to be clear, the Republican Party will talk about how, oh yeah, you know, some of these folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, yeah, we don't necessarily agree with them, blah blah blah, but you know, they get them in line. At the end of the day, they all work in unison. You absolute doo-doo head. True. Is this because funding runs politics? Well, yeah. This is honestly fifth dimension, as I said. This is just ExxonMobil getting their return on investment. That's it. That's all this is. The world needs the US to grasp climate change reduction and run with it very fast. Yeah, I think that it is undeniable that we need to make serious strides on climate change, and this is a vehicle. This is a vehicle to get something on the board, because if we get something on the board in terms of climate change legislation, that may be the door that we need open to further more important legislation for climate change. But if we get none on the board, then it's done. Then it's done, because rebuilding that momentum, I don't know. Rebuilding that momentum, they do okay with whipping votes, but do you not remember the failure to repeal the ACA or any infrastructure bill? The only legislative victory they had was the Trump tax cuts. True. Fair point. Fair point. But also, like, it only failed to repeal the ACA by one vote. Well, I guess the situation is similar here. I guess there have been scenarios where they couldn't get 100% unison, but I feel like more often than not, they can get rank and file to get whatever it is they want enacted. I mean, specifically, Mitch McConnell is incredibly effective at doing this, up to and including threatening primarying or funding if they don't fall in line. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said Wednesday that he hopes Manchin and Sinema will dig their heels against some of the tax increases Democrats are eyeing to finance the package. It comes down to, in the Senate, to 2 people, he said. Either one of them could kill the whole bill. I don't expect that to happen. Either one of them could make dramatic changes in it. That could happen. Or either one of them could basically make a few cosmetic changes and throw in the towel. Yeah. That is a fair point. Just reminding because the grass is always greener on the other side effect, which is something I see a lot in these topics. Yeah, good point. Good point. Alright. Tell me, President Mansion, Mr. Kingmaker, tell me, what are your long list of demands, oh Lord? Imagine one person, or 2 people, theoretically, holding up the entire Senate. Unbelievable. In the Senate, all roads lead to President Joe Manchin. The West Virginia Democrat and his staff have been engaged for weeks of intensive negotiations with the key chairs of key Senate committees ahead of his party's release of a sprawling bill to expand the social safety net, laying down his demands on a wide range of issues: healthcare, education, childcare, and taxes, according to multiple sources familiar with the talks. And Manchin is making clear he won't cave on aggressive climate provisions sought by many Democrats. This is your own party, dude. Stop. This is unbelievably frustrating. Throwing a wrench in his party's efforts to make the bill key to combating climate change. I don't think that this is by itself the quote key to combating global warming, but it does get something on the board, which may open the possibilities of more legislation coming should this pass. But you know, like I said, this entire ordeal, this entire kerfuffle is all it is just ExxonMobil collecting their return on investment. Manchin's demands are well, he's a conservative Democrat. He's not a centrist. He's not a centrist. He's a conservative. This is beyond clear. Hey Kevin, I'm scared. Just watched 40 hours of older right-wingers politics on Twitch, and they think people only learn communism in college. Communism is when college. Gotcha. They are worried we won't have mechanics soon, and they what? Mechanics? And they warned people about September 18th. Oh, okay. So just briefly, we'll talk about that in a second. All this while saying leftists are racist. Oh man, Fox News working overtime. Yeah, September 18th. Let me see what date that is. Is that a Saturday? Oof. So not this Saturday, but the next coming, so not this upcoming Saturday, but the following, supposedly, there's going to be some type of rally, and, Capitol Police is already preparing for it, so, we'll see. I personally doubt that anything will happen. Furthermore, it's Saturday, so a lot of lawmakers aren't going to be there anyways, or their staff. So, I mean, sure. But I'm still we're still gonna keep an eye on that. January 6th 2.0. I don't think so. I don't think so. We will definitely watch out. And ban on American politics for Canada. So you are in favor of the wall. Nice meme. Yeah, I just saw a headline that they're putting back up the fence around the Capitol. Yeah, they're preparing for it. Spread it forward. So I personally think that it's not going to be the same, because this time I'm going to assume that they're not gonna blow that one like they did January 6th. Yeah, Trump was Trump was right about the wall. They just put it on the wrong border. True. Yeah, another rally. We'll see. I'm sure we'll see lots of friendly, familiar faces on that rally. Should we make like a bingo card? We'll put Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, 3%ers. Hey, White Damp, how's it going? No. Did someone say insurrection bingo? I think the defense will be bigger, but the rally is going to go nuts and pickup trucks will be flying everywhere. Nah, I don't know if it's going to be the same. I don't expect it to be. I honestly don't expect it to be. Hey, White Damp, how's it going, by the way? I really doubt that they're going to make the same mistakes and incompetence as they did in January 6th. I really don't think so. ADT, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Howdy. Mexico didn't pay for Trump's wall, but we're gonna pay for Trudeau's wall. True. True. Anyways, we'll continue our depressing news stories. Manchin is making it clear he won't cave on aggressive climate provisions sought by many Democrats, throwing a wrench in his party's efforts to make the bill key to combating global warming. While Democrats needing every vote in their caucus to get the bill through the Senate along straight party lines, Manchin has received more attention than any Democrat, even as others like Madam President Kyrsten Sinema have also balked at the $3.5 trillion price tag. Indeed, as committee chairs have held regular meetings with their members over the summer recess to shape key provisions of legislation under their jurisdiction, they often will have later individual meetings with Manchin, even if he doesn't serve on their respective committees. Why does this one person have so much say? Jesus Christ. As she met with her members on the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, Washington Senator Patty Murray, who chairs the panel, also talked privately with Manchin to hear his concerns about the provisions on free. What concerns could you possibly have on this? Issues that are also central to President Joe Biden's agenda. Her staff has since been in contact with Manchin's aides, while Murray has been in constant communication with other members as well. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. What is the issue here? What concerns could you possibly have about trying to get 2 years? It's not even like full community college. 2 years. A free community college and universal pre-K, something that is like basic. Something that is basic. Unbelievable. And the frustrating part is that this type of stuff is going to cost them in 2022. That's simple. People are going to say, wait a minute, didn't we like make a monumental effort to get these people in the majority? Didn't we make like a massive effort in Georgia to make sure that the Senate had the majority necessary to pass the agenda like this, to pass campaign promises such as this? Wasn't the entire purpose of winning Georgia to try to get something like this done? Something like community college, something like universal pre-K, something like expansion to child tax credits, which happened. Something like expansion to Medicare. I mean, what was the point then? People are going to ask themselves, well then why? Wait, what was the point then? And you know what? They're going to stay home in 2022. That's simple. You're not going to have that same energy. Sorry. I think they'll make the same mistakes. I mean, they are making the same mistakes, and what's so frustrating? It's like I said earlier, the biggest hurdle that these things are having, these very important legislations are having, is the own Democratic Party. I don't get it either. Maternity leave, sick leave, paid sick leave, paid maternity leave. This is what motivated people to deliver the Senate for the Democratic Party. Something so basic as maternity leave, as God forbid, 2 years of community college, universal pre-K, the most basic of basic stuff. Unbelievable. Hey Dakapolion, how's it going? This is basic no-brainer shit. Of course Manchin is against it. Yeah, I mean, like, so exactly, Eric, which is really, really frustrating because, like, the people delivered the Senate for the Democratic Party based on these campaign platforms, and you're not delivering on it. So why? And just like thinking to myself just putting myself in the shoes of like the voters, then what was the point? And all those folks on the ground, knocking doors, doing phone calls, campaigning. How are they feeling after all that effort to get the Senate? And you have this guy having concerns about provisions of free community college, which is 2 years, by the way. It's not the full 4. It's 2 years, an associate's degree. Manchin and his staff has been in consistent talks with Senate Finance Chairman Ron Wyden of Oregon, a committee where the two powerful Democrats have clashed over several key provisions central to financing the proposal, including on corporate tax hikes. According to multiple sources familiar with the matter, Wyden said he has weekly Zoom meetings with committee members on individual areas of proposal, but has made sure to have regular talks with Manchin, either with him directly or through his staff. And Manchin has engaged in long discussions with rank-and-file Democrats, including Senator Michael Bennet, over the Colorado Democrats' push to broaden and bolster the child tax credit, which West Virginia wants to bring down to a level far lower than what many in his party want. Why are you in this party then? Why? Then why are you here? And what is the purpose of you being in the Democratic? Just if you're here in the Democratic Party as an elected official, and there was a monumental effort to make sure that your party had the majority to enact X, Y, and Z, which is the majority of what your party's agenda is, and it's allegedly, supposedly, why people went out there and voted for it, then why are you being the one or two people that are seriously putting this in danger? Something so simple as a child tax credit, something so simple as a 2-year universal college. This is really going to deflate enthusiasm for future efforts? Yeah, because, I mean, like, just putting yourself in the shoes as the voter. Why? What was the point? What did we achieve? I wouldn't blame them. On education, Manchin is trying to limit the Democrats' efforts. The Democrats' efforts to provide universal pre-K and tuition community college. He's talked to Democrats about limiting the number of Americans eligible for pre-K by setting income thresholds, while also discussing ways to measure students' performance for community college, assuming their tuition is paid for over 2 years. So, wait. You're going to propose to have this unbelievably irrational means test so that you have to measure each student's performance and see whether or not they get that tuition for the 2 years and blah blah blah. And like, how much is that going to cost, since you're so like adamant about asking how much money is it going to cost? How much is means testing to make sure all of these rules are in place and enforced? How much is that administrative and bureaucratic cost going to be? Like, come on. Is means testing makes it more expensive? Yeah, exactly. Like, we have to tack on administrative costs and way of like making that determination. Like, this is beyond asinine. And on healthcare, Manchin has suggested substantially reducing the funding for home care services, a key priority of many Democrats. Again, hey, buddy, you know what? Why are you here? Amid private discussions come amid Manchin's public call last week in a Wall Street Journal op-ed for a strategic pause in consideration of the expensive bill, which Democrats are trying to advance through a process known as budget reconciliation, since it can be approved by straight party lines in the 50-50 Senate. Democratic leaders want to resolve their disagreements and have a proposal ready by September 15th. Senator Manchin's op-ed made clear that both present and unknown challenges facing our country far outweigh the politics of passing something of this magnitude at this time. Okay, how do I explain this to you in a very, very, very calm and rational tone? You do not have the time that you think you have. Okay? Okay? You do not have the time you think you have. Furthermore, there are fundamental problems in this country that need to be addressed that have yet to be addressed at all. And this is but an attempt to solve some of these problems. Hide Mia, I already told you the links are disabled. Actual US deaths are 1.2 million? Are you talking about the coronavirus? I'm not understanding. We don't have sufficient evidence for that. We can only go based on what is currently in front of us, which is puts it at just over 653,000. Maybe so, but let's call this the conservative number, and let's say that we can agree that there may be underestimation. We just don't know to what degree, and to make claims of like doubling it without any like anything behind it, we can't really say. We can say what we're sure of. So for sure, we are at this level, maybe underestimating it, and we can agree that it may be underestimated, but we just don't know to what degree. Referring to the moderate Democrats, no, this is not a moderate, this is a conservative. The conservative Democrats' concern over inflation and the ballooning national debt. This was true last week and it is today. The talks underscore the challenges ahead for Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who needs to win over Manchin but avoid provoking a revolt among progressives, particularly in the House, who are already balking at the West Virginia's private suggestion to bring the price tag down overall to $1.5 trillion, so half it. And without Senate passage of the reconciliation bill, House progressives are warning they'll derail the Senate's $1 trillion infrastructure plan that Manchin was central in negotiating. The idea of $1.5 trillion price tag being sufficient to accomplish these goals for people is fanciful, said Representative Mondaire Jones, a progressive Democrat from New York. What remains to be seen is whether the Senate chair ultimately caters to Manchin's man or tries to railroad him into making a choice. Approve the sweeping piece of domestic legislation in decades or be responsible for sinking it single-handedly. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. I don't even know what else to say. We're moving full steam ahead, rejecting Manchin's much publicized call for a strategic pause into consideration of the bill. Schumer and Manchin, who have long had a frank and collegial relationship, have been in constant talks through the month of August and was not caught off guard by Manchin's op-ed, multiple sources say. Schumer knows full well what he needs to keep his most important swing vote at bay, in addition to Sinema, who has already said she opposed a bill that costs $3.5 trillion. There are some in my caucus who believe $3.5 trillion is too much, and there are some in my caucus who believe it's too little. I'm working very hard to have unity, because without unity, we're not going to get anything. Unbelievable. To get unity's committee, the committee chairs have been working to ensure Manchin is not caught off guard by revisions in their plan they hope to unveil next week. Some issues may be unresolvable, such as climate change. This is not an acceptable outcome. Unironically, this is not an acceptable outcome. Who represents a major coal-producing state and is the kingmaker for ExxonMobil, has balked at Democratic proposals to impose a clean energy standard to significantly reduce carbon dioxide emissions. He has balked at Democratic proposals to impose a clean energy standard to significantly reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Democrats have also discussed including a tax on carbon dioxide emissions, something that could lead to the industry's use of cleaner burning fossil fuels. I don't know what cleaner burning fossil fuels means, or cleaner burning fuels means. There's no such thing. I suppose there's cleaner burning fuels. I suppose that's correct. But Manchin has not been amenable to aggressive climate targets, leaving it unclear where the talks will land. You know where it will land? Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by, Eric. I appreciate that. You know where the land in catastrophe in decades to come, and he'll be the one to shoulder that blame alone. If they're eliminating fossil fuels, and I'm finding out there's a lot of language in places they're eliminating fossil fuels, which is very, very disturbing, because if you're sticking your head in the sand, last time resubscribing for 4 months, good morning to you. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Can everybody go to twitch.tv/classtime to meet the left? They're eliminating fossil fuels, and I'm finding out there's a lot of language in places they're eliminating fossil fuels, which is very, very disturbing, because if you're sticking your head in the sand and saying that fossil fuels has to be eliminated in America, true, and they want to get rid of it, and thinking that's going to clean up the global climate, it won't clean it up at all. Wait, no, that's like completely the opposite of what we've been reading this entire time. Manchin told CNN in July of his party's plans. If anything, it would be worse. Of course, this is not based on any of the consensus of science that we have. It's just not. As far as what the consensus of science says, we need to do whatever we can in as quickly as possible and as quickly as humanly possible to eliminate emissions now. That's literally what all the consensus of science has been telling us. That is what this IPCC report is telling us quite frequently, actually, in multiple areas. It reiterates the importance of getting off fossil fuels. This is just unbelievable to me. So the TLDR of these articles that we went through is, it seems to me like the biggest hurdle. It seems to me like the biggest hurdle that the very crucial and important legislation is having is the Democratic Party, in particular Joe Manchin, who has all of a sudden concerned himself with the price tag of things, and for some reason has concerns about expanding things such as 2 years of tuition-free college, which is just an associate's degree. Again, just the most basic things. child tax child tax credits, universal pre-K. All of these things are just basic. What about paid maternity leave, paid sick leave for all workers? Important legislation that will impact Americans is being held up by a single person. Unbelievably crucial legislation for climate change that could set the precedent, or could set or could open the door to more climate legislation that is needed. It's not really optional. It's needed. All being held up by one person. I guess the real winner is ExxonMobil. Congratulations, Exxon. I'm glad that you got your return on investment. Just ask yourself at what price. Hey Heat, how's it going? Morning. Here's a cool, nice meme. LAPD officers told to collect social media data on every civilian they stop. I slept in an hour, but we're going on the road later today. Nice. That's so cool. I saw the pictures of one of the campers, I think is what they're called. Man, that looks really, really cool. I mean, it looks just absolutely perfect. So this is really cool, really awesome, totally normal stuff. Apparently, the camper we're looking at tomorrow, nice. Very awesome. In Colorado, my favorite place. My favoritist place. Nice. The LAPD has directed its officers to collect the social media information of every civilian they interview, including individuals who are not arrested or accused of a crime. Wow. Holy yikes, Batman. Holy human privacy holy human privacy violations, Batman. Copies of the field interview cards that police complete when they question civilians reveal that LAPD officers are instructed to record a civilian's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other social media accounts alongside basic biographical information. An internal memo further shows that the police chief, Michelle Moore, told employees that it was critical to collect the data for use of investigations, arrests, and prosecutions, and warned that supervisors would review the cards to ensure they were complete. Now, if you are not being stopped, or I should say, you're not being arrested or accused of a crime or detained, explain to me why any police officer or any law enforcement would need your Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is to social media. Explain to me. Explain to me why this would be necessary. Well, Trump wasn't known for his Trump wasn't known for his knowledge, I'll say that. A back shop guru. The documents which were obtained from by the non-profit organization of the Brennan Center for Justice have raised concerns about civil liberties and the potential for mass surveillance of civilians without justification. There are real dangers about the police having all of this social media identifying information at their fingertips. Yeah. Like, dude, you do not need this information unless you're doing like an active investigation that has warrants signed by judges behind it. Just saying. Unless you're in an active investigation and have warrants by judges that allow at this point, because you are under investigation for X, Y, or Z, there should be absolutely zero reason as to why any police department needs this information. Google, Twitter, and Facebook does it. Why not the LAPD? Because Google, Twitter, and Facebook aren't law enforcement, nor are they part of the government. That being said, I have criticized Facebook and Google for playing fast and loose with private data. I'll show you my IG if you show me a teller, Mr. Officer. True. I would just say I don't have any social media. Sorry. I'm not on social media, sorry. None of my social media has my real complete name, so good luck. There are real dangers about police having all of this social media identifying information at their fingertips. True. Said Rachel Levinson Waldham, a deputy director at the Brennan Center, noting that the information was probably stored in a database that could be used for a wide range of purposes, which, again, the police have no business having any of this information without the proper steps, right? I'm one of those dummies where I made my email first and last names combined. Well, I mean, I get it because, like, it's supposed to be like that, or at least it sounds more professional, which is fine. I mean, especially for, like, trying to, like, job hunt and stuff like that. Yeah, I would just make sure that that specific email would be as limited use as possible, and only give it out for business purposes only. Either that or slightly change it, because oof. The Brennan Center conducted a review for the other police agencies in the U.S. as unable to find another department that required social media collection and interview cards, although many have not publicly disclosed copies of the cards. Yeah, cool. Very normal. Not only that, they're also being accused of, like, racial profiling, which is huge yikes. Oh, Jesus. Come here. Okay. Stop it. Show me the cards. Wait. Here we are. Yeah, unironically, it's probably what they did. Meanwhile, more than half of the civilians stopped by Metro officers, and documents in the cards were not arrested or cited. The fact that a department under scrutiny for racial profiling was also engaged in broad social media account collection is troubling. Yeah. Holy yikes, Batman. Holy human rights violations, Batman. Here it is. Additional info. Person's booking number, narrative, email, social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Like, why would you need this? Social security number? What? This is deeply disturbing. Furthermore, when police obtain social media usernames, it opens the door for officers to monitor an individual's connections and friends online, creating additional privacy concerns. Yeah, no doubt. It allows for a huge expansion of the network surveillance, said Levinson Walderman, noting how police and prosecutors have previously used Facebook photos and likes to make dubious or false allegations of criminal gang activity. Ah, yes. Very legal, very normal. Just cool stuff coming out of LAPD. Very cool stuff. This is like stop and frisk. He said the use of field interview cards, and this is happening with a clear goal of surveillance. Right. True. This isn't, there's no need for having any of this information. Sorry. You do not need anybody's email accounts, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. You don't need any of that. Sorry. I would honestly just say I don't have any. I just don't. You can look me up. I just don't. Sorry. Also, this is probably a good time. If you have any type of social media, just don't use your real name. Especially if you live in LA, just say I don't have any social media, and if can't find you because you don't have your real name, then oh. Recently heard a segment on NPR about police harassing and stalking women or sexual assaulting them during stops. I imagine collect all of your personal media information on top of it. Yeah, that's kind of yikes, dude. That's kind of yikes. That's super yikes. And why would they have this section? Gang/moniker? Not everybody you stop is part of a gang. Wait. Yikes. I just saw that. Not everybody you stop is with a gang or has a moniker. Okay, that's weird. That is very weird. But I suppose it's there in case you stop somebody that happens to be in a gang. I don't know. This just seems very weird. So the TLDR of this story is the LAPD has grossly overstepped their authority as a institution for law enforcement. I don't believe that they have any reason whatsoever to begin collecting information that they have no business needing during stops, where the majority of stops there is no arrest or detainment. They have no business knowing your social media accounts. This is a violation of human rights and people's privacy. We should be very vigilant. And as far as we know, it is thankfully contained to the LAPD, although it's quite possible that other police departments may implement this. Unironically, Big Brother, right? So they can F right off with that. They have no business knowing any information except unless there is a specific warrant or a specific warrant signed by a judge or anything like that. They have no business knowing anything except for unless it's like required, your name. And even then, yeah, send me the article. You're a sub, then there. I think you can post it. You should be able to post it. Yeah, so TLDR, they have absolutely no business knowing anything. Especially if you're not being detained for or arrested for anything. So they can F right off with that. They don't need any of that information. Shoot, I guess you can't. Alright, send it to me in whispers. I thought I had it set so subscribers can do it. Maybe I'm wrong. Oof. Maybe I'm wrong. Send it to me. What? Unbelievable. So this is like some unironically 1984. Pasco County lives in 1984. Pasco County Sheriff Chris Noko took office in 2011 with a bold plan to create a cutting-edge intelligence program that could stop crime before it happened. Isn't this the plot of Minority Report? What he actually built was a system to continuously monitor and harass Pasco residents, a Tampa Bay Times investigation has found. First, the sheriff's office generates a list of people it considers likely to break the law based on erased histories and unspecified intelligence and arbitrary decisions by police analysts. Wait, holy yikes. I'm glad to see you're healthy and doing well. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that memo. I'm glad to see you here. Damn it, my internet cut out. Florida. Then it sends deputies to find and interrogate anyone whose name appears, often without probable cause, a search warrant, or evidence of a specific crime. Yikes. It's correct, Menu Frog. Holy human rights violations, Batman. Imagine being okay with this. They swarm houses in the middle of the night, waking families and embarrassing people in front of their neighbors. They write tickets for missing mailbox numbers and overgrown grass, saddling residents with court dates and fines. They come and come again, making arrests for any reasons they can. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're about to read that part here, Thundera. Jesus. One former deputy described the directive like this: make their lives miserable until they move or sue. In just like 5 years, Noko's signature program has ensnared almost 1,000 people. and 1 in 10 were younger than 18. Some of the young people were labeled targets despite only having 1 or 2 arrests. Like, okay, so first of all, no. As just because you had priors, shouldn't make you eligible for, like, surveillance to see if you're gonna do the next crime, right? Like, what? And furthermore, what does that say about the system if you're already predicting through dubious methods that you're going to make another crime? Sorry, that you're going to commit another crime. What does that say about the system? You're not interested in actually getting to the roots of any of these problems. If that's your attitude to handling crime. Unironically, this is like very, 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 very 1984-ish, Gestapo-ish. Rio Wachecki, 15, became a target in September 2019, almost a year after he was arrested for sneaking into carports with a friend and stealing a motorcycle, I guess. Those were the only charges against Rio, and he already had a state-issued juvenile probation officer checking on him. Yet, from September 2019 to January 2020, Pasco Sheriff deputies went to his home at least 21 times, dispatch logs show. 21 times. They showed up at the car dealership where his mom worked, looked for him at a friend's house. What? And checked his gym to see if he had signed in. What? More than once, the deputies acknowledged that Rio wasn't getting into trouble. They mostly grilled him about his friends. According to a body camera video of the interactions, but he had been identified as a target, they said, so they had to keep checking on him. This is beyond wild. This is 1,000% unacceptable. Even if this was even if this was the only case that we know of, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is unbelievable to me. 15. Tom Cruise taught me that pre-crime was a deeply flawed idea. Yeah, exactly. That was the Minority Report, right? That's the plot of Minority Report, which is it. Literally, you could just say this, and you would be thinking that they were making Here, I'll do that right now. If you just read this part, you would think that there's going to be a review of Minority Report. If you were to just read this part, you would think that there's going to be some type of review of Minority Report, or like, I don't know, 1984 or something. Jesus Christ. Also true. Unbelievable. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Yeah, so this happened. I don't want to give this too much time, but this happened. Trump went on to praise Lee, calling him the greatest strategist of them all. He also mentioned that Lee should be remembered as perhaps the greatest unifying force after the war was over. Let me just end this conversation by saying that even Robert E. Lee did not want a single statue of him. He did not want a single statue of him. So if Donald Trump knew anything about anything, to be quite honest, he would know that one of Lee's wishes was that there would be no statues of him whatsoever. If anything, since Donald Trump seems to be very, very admiring, very admirable of him, admiring? He admires him very much, then he should know that that was his wish. So wouldn't the removal then be just doing Robert E. Lee's wishes anyways? If he knew anything about anything? He does say the dumbest things. Trump ended his statement by saying our culture is being destroyed. Wow. Anybody hear those dogs barking? Because I can hear my neighbor's dog after saying that statement. And our history and heritage. Oof. Yikes. Both good and bad are being extinguished by the radical left. Putting a statue in storage is not extinguishing any history whatsoever. I don't get it. The statue in question, I feel sometimes a little more complicated than what it's made out to be. Yeah, but like he regardless, like he's making this like massive deal about it. It's like, dude, it's going into storage. The history and heritage are very strange ways of making it, putting it. It's not being destroyed by the quote radical left. It's just like these dog whistles. That disturb me. Hey Alio, with statements like that, Trump should know. It's called about how the word is passed, and like the book is the closest in these parts to understanding the mindset of those in the South who are hostile to the statue removal. Yeah, I mean, but like, it didn't just happen, right? I think that most people were fine with it, from what I understand. And like making it is like, first of all, he's not from the South, so I don't know what like history or heritage he has attached to it, anyways. Like if that's his argument. And second of all, like, no, there's nothing being extinguished here. It's not being destroyed. It's being put in storage. Should melt it down and cast a Biden statue. Anyways, he closed by saying that if we had Robert E. Lee leading our troops in Afghanistan, then the disaster would have ended in complete and total victory many years ago. Nothing the history of the past using all available facts and nostalgia's fantasy about past using no facts. Somewhere between memory, which is kind of the blend of history and a little emotion. I mean, history is kind of about what you need to know, but nostalgia is what you want to hear. That's a quote from his book. Yeah, that's true. Nostalgia is about what you want to hear. I agree with that. Heat, coming in hot with the 10 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Alio with another 10 biddies. Uh-oh. Gotta go have fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Uh-oh. Hey, I'll be streaming from Colorado tomorrow, probably. Alright, well, go follow Heat at twitch.tv/Heat420_. Check that out tomorrow. Have a great day. You have a great day. Anyways, this is beyond ridiculous and asinine. Menu Frogs with the 50 biddies. Oof. Are you all trying to start a hype train? Is that what you guys are trying to do? Yeah, I understand, James, but like it's also like really weird to be so like I don't know, maybe it's because I don't think that way, but like the last thing I think about when it comes to like identity and history and stuff like that is a statue. It just seems really weird. Especially coming like from Trump. Again, this is all just probably a mix of like dog whistles and like pandering to his base again, just trying to shore up and keep that energy by saying like ridiculous comments like this. Yeah, I can definitely check that out. What is it? Where is it? Where is it? Clint? I feel like how the word is passed. White Damp subscribing with a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Copy. Documents. How the word is passed. Clint Smith. I was missing your wisdom. Broadband failed. That's all good. I didn't miss much. Its full title is How the Word is Passed: A Reckoning with History of Slavery Across America. Let me copy paste that. Clint Smith. Alright, definitely. Save. Just in time, 5th dimension. This is just like brief.
In recent weeks, a record heat wave sparked wildfires across Greece. Over 500 fires raged across the country. The largest and most damaging was on the island of Evia.
Just brief
The
because I
government
got
focuses
hit with another
resources on putting out fires
DMCA
close to
thing.
the great
Yes,
capital.
with the other previous stream that I had to take down. So look at this.
The residents of Evia were told to evacuate. Many fled. Some defied the order, staying behind to protect their villages.
Σε 11 ώρα ήρθε η αστυνομία, χτύπησε τις καμπάνες και λέει φυγάτε από τα σπίτια. Πού να πάω να φύγω από το σπίτι.
No ads, please.
We're witnessing a part of our history where a layer of flames and smoke.
Yeah, on YouTube, because I use YouTube to kind of filter my VODs, and if I see anything that's like DMCA, then I will take down my Twitch VOD, because I have no way of Twitch doesn't catch all of the DMCA stuff like YouTube does. Anomalously warm day here in Scotland, 27 degrees. Plus in places where September is very off, averages for that month are about half that. Yeah, it's clear that climate change is is causing some of this, James. I really appreciate how you take people for how they come. I just unfollowed someone else, but I'm glad now. Hey, I appreciate that. YouTube is getting lots of complaints about their methods and etc. Yeah, but I think that like YouTube has a more robust way of catching DMCA material and has an easy way of just clipping out that like couple of seconds or whatnot. Versus Twitch doesn't catch all of them, it seems. I would argue it's Twitch's responsibility to handle those DMCA things as they own your stream for 48 hours after you stream. While you stream, since they don't own it, it's on them. True. Good point, Memo. Good point. I just want to protect myself, you know, just in case. Unfortunately, Twitch has not yet provided us a good, robust system to deal with it. So, I mean, these images are just staggering.
Volunteers from all over Greece are still putting out fires. On the morning of the second day, when the fires started spreading,
Yikes.
over 500 firefighters were on the ground in Athens, but only 95 were in Evia. The Prime Minister was accused of mismanaging the emergency.
Ζητώ συγγνώμη για τις όποιες αδυναμίες υπήρξαν.
Yikes. TLDR, this is just another downstream effect of climate change. That's literally what's going to be the new norm, and yeah. Alright, folks. I do want to play this entire thing, but I'm afraid of DMCA strikes. But I think that it is demonstrable, the damage that is happening here. So, last night on the Discord, the absolute mad lads of Scientist Rebellion have managed to leak the Working Group 3 report for the IPCC, and we got links to it. So this is what's going to come after we're done with the technical summary of this one. Aw, boo. Google Docs. Alright, so today we won't be able to get through what I want, but the leaked report is here. Some of the more notable quotes, which are again, you can check the Discord. It's there. You can thank Darknet for that. But some notable quotes. Mitigation and development goals cannot be met through incremental change. Individuals can contribute to overcoming barriers and enable climate change mitigation. Individual behavioral change in isolation cannot reduce GHG emissions significantly. Estimates, these are all just different quotes from the leaked IPCC Working Group 3 report, I believe. Estimates of committed CO2 emissions from current fossil energy infrastructure are at 658 gigatons, nearly double the remaining carbon budget. Yeah. Transition pathways entail distributional consequences such as changes in employment and economic structure. Here's an interesting quote from the leaked report. If 10 to 30% of the population were to demonstrate commitment to low carbon technologies, behaviors, and lifestyles, new social norms would be established. Delayed action increases challenges to both economical and societal feasibility after 2030. Yeah. For those of you who are interested in taking care of the economy. Equity and justice are important. Whoa. Okay. Equity and justice are important, enabling conditions for effective climate mitigation. Institutions and governance that address equity and supporting narratives that promote just transitions can build broader support for climate policymaking. Collective action through formal social movements and informal lifestyle movements expands the potential for climate policy and supports system change. There you have it, folks. All right. Ooh. Folks, we are on page 88 of 159 for the IPCC Technical Summary Working Group 1. Strap in, folks. We got a few pages to cover today. Since the late 19th century, major MOVs showed no sustained trends exhibiting fluctuations in frequency and magnitude at multi-decadal timescales except for southern annual mode, which has become systematically more positive. High confidence. It is very likely that human influence has contributed to this trend from the 1970s to 1990s and to the associated strengthening and southward shift of the southern hemisphere extratropical jet in austral summer. The influence of stratospheric ozone forcing on the SAM trend has been reduced since early 2000s compared to earlier decades, contributing to the weakening of its positive trend observed over 2000 to 2019. By contrast, the cause of the northern annual mode trend towards its positive phase since the 1960s and associated northward shifts of northern hemispheric extratropical jet and storm track in boreal winter is not well understood. Evaluation of model performance on simulating MOVs is assessed in this table. In the near term, the forced change in SAM in austral summer is likely to be weaker than observed during the late 20th century under all 5 SSPs assessed. This is because of the opposing influence in the near to mid-term from stratospheric ozone recovery and increases in other greenhouse gases on the southern hemisphere, summertime mid-latitude circulation, high confidence. In the near-term, forced changes in the SAM in austral summer are therefore likely to be smaller than changes due to natural internal variability. In the long term, 2081 to 2100 under SSP 5 to 8.5 scenario, the SAM index is likely to increase in all seasons relative to 1995 to 2014. The CMIP6 multi-model ensemble project projects a long-term 2081 to 2100 increase in boreal wintertime NAM index under SSP 3 to 7.0 and SSP 5 to 8.5. But regional associated changes may deviate from a simple shift in the mid-latitude circulation due to a modified teleconnection resulting from interaction with a modified mean background state. Human influence has not affected the principal tropical modes of interannual climate variability and their associated regional teleconnections beyond the range of internal variability. High confidence. Yes, Austro Summers. It is virtually certain that the ENSO will remain the dominant mode of interannual variability in a warmer world. There's no consensus for models for a systematic change in amplitude of the ENSO SST variability over the 21st century in any of the SSP scenarios assessed. Medium confidence. However, it is very likely that rainfall variability related to ENSO will be enhanced significantly by the latter half of the 21st century in the SSP2 4.5, SSP3 7.0, SSP5 to 8.5 scenarios. Regardless of the amplitude changes in SST variability related to the mode, it is very likely that rainfall variability related to changes in the strength and spatial extent of ENSO teleconnections will lead to significant changes at a regional scale. Modes of decadal and multi-decadal variability over the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean exhibit no significant changes in variance over the period observed of the observational records. High confidence. There is medium confidence that anthropogenic and volcanic aerosols contributed to observed temporal evolution in the Atlantic multi-decadal variability, AMV, and associated regional teleconnections, especially since the 1960s. But there is no confidence in the magnitude of this influence and the relative contributions of natural and anthropogenic forcings. Internal variability is the main driver of the Pacific decadal variability observed since the start of the instrumental records. High confidence. Despite some modeling evidence for potential external influence, there is medium confidence that the AMV will undergo a shift towards a negative phase in the near term. And this is the table they were referring to. Wait. No, Karl Marx. Oh man. Please. Please, no. And these are the corresponding tables it was referring to. Sorry for putting that out into the universe. Oh man. Anthropogenic forcing has been a major driver of regional mean temperature change since 1950 in many subcontinental regions around the world, virtually certain. At regional scales, internal variability is stronger, and uncertainties in observations, models, and external forcings are all larger than at the global scale, hindering a robust assessment of the relative contributions of greenhouse gases, stratospheric ozone, and different aerosol species in most of the cases. Multiple lines of evidence combining multiple lines of evidence combining multi-model ensemble global projections with those coming from single model initial condition large ensembles show that internal variability is largely contributing to the delayed or absent emergence of the anthropogenic signal in the long-term regional mean precipitation changes. High confidence. Internal variability in the ocean dynamics dominates regional patterns on annual to decadal timescales. High confidence. The anthropogenic signal in regional sea level change will emerge in most regions by 2100. Delayed response. Regional climate change is subject to complex interplay between multiple external forcings and the internal variability. Time evolution of mechanisms operating at different timescales can modify the amplitude of the regional scale response of temperature and both the amplitude and sign of response of precipitation to anthropogenic forcing. High confidence. These mechanisms include nonlinear temperature, precipitation, soil moisture, feedback, slow and fast responses of SST patterns, and atmospheric circulation changes to increasing GHGs, land use, and aerosol forcings and land atmosphere feedback play important roles in modulating regional changes, for instance, weather and climate extremes. High confidence. These can also lead to a higher warming of extreme temperature compared to the mean temperature, high confidence, and possibly cooling in some regions, medium confidence. The soil moisture temperature feedback was shown to be relevant for past and present day heat waves based on observations and model simulations. The world's oceans are dying and we're dying according to UNESCO. We need private industry and the younger generation to save us. We're all doomed. I don't think we're all doomed. However, what we do now and the actions or inactions taken by us here and now will determine what future we leave to the next generation or the generation after that. I hate when we leave shit for the younger generation to remedy. What a cop-out. True. I was being a doomer, my bad. Well, there's lots of reasons to be doomer. I get it. But hey, as long as we have time, then we should do what we can in the time that we have with the tools that we have. Southeastern South America. Southeastern South America is one of the AR6 Working Group 1 reference regions outlined with thick black contour and figure here, and it is used as an illustrative example of the interplay between drivers of climate variability and change at a regional scale. The Austral Summer, DJF, precipitation positive trends have been observed over the region during 1950 to 2014. Drivers of this change include MOVs such as AMV, ENSO, and PDV, as well as external forcing like greenhouse gas increase, ozone depletion, together with aerosols as illustrated here. MOVs are external, and external forcing collectively affect climate phenomena such as the Hadley cell width and strength. Rossby waves activity emergent from the large-scale tropical SST anomalies and the southern hemisphere polar vortex, which are relevant for the region. In fact, local changes over the SES in terms of moisture convergence, ascending motion, and storm track location depend on these climate phenomena, and they are overall responsible for the observed precipitation trends. Projections suggest continuing positive trends in rainfall for SES in the near term in response to GHG emission scenarios. Multi-model mean and ensemble spread are not sufficient to characterize situations where different models simulate substantially different or even opposite changes, high confidence. In such cases, physical climate storylines addressing possible outcomes for climate phenomena are shown to play a role in the variability of the region of interest, can aid the interpretation of projection uncertainties. In addition, single model initial condition, large ensembles of many realizations of internal variability are required to separate internal variability from force changes, high confidence, and to partition the different sources of uncertainties as a function of future assessed periods. Oof. Not really a way around it, but it's important to be doomer while pushing forward and getting shit done. It's fucking hard though. Some days are just crying are completely fine. Yeah. But I'm also using 2 monitors, an iPad, an iPhone, a laptop, so yeah. I mean, there are individual actions that we can do to try to reduce, what we can in the ways that we can in terms of consumption or how we get our stuff. There are certain things that we can do. Sure, absolutely. I would encourage, trying to reduce the amount of, particularly plastics, try to reduce the amount of effectively consumption. If and however possible. I would also argue that adjusting to a more plant-based diet would be also beneficial. Even if you need, to adjust by I remember seeing Sam Cedar saying that he has meatless days and has slowly introduced that. And it's going, apparently it's working for him. So I mean, there are things that you can do as an individual, and that you should do just because it's the right thing to do, and it does work. It may have an effect, especially if, you know, friends see it or family see it. Maybe they'll take on some of those choices. And you, as an individual, can also help organize and, participate in helping build political pressure to enact the changes that need to be done. As Kyle said, systems need to be changed. But that doesn't happen by itself. That doesn't happen by itself. That doesn't happen by itself. And it can start with us. It can start with us. It can start with you. I mean, like I said, the IPCC report, Working Group 3, the Working Group 3 report, Part 3, was leaked thanks to these folks at Scientist Rebellion. One of the most interesting things is this here. If 10 to 30% of the population were to demonstrate commitment to low carbon technology behaviors and lifestyles, new social norms could be established. What would be established? You just gotta get enough people to tip that over. They also say individuals can contribute to overcoming barriers and enable climate change mitigation, which is you guys organize. Individual behavior changes in isolation by themselves cannot reduce GHG emissions significantly because, well, by ourselves, that's not how you reduce GHG emissions. How to demonstrate commitment if poverty. Yeah, that's a problem. Which is why this budget reconciliation bill is like so important to get something on the board. Collective action through formal social movements and informal lifestyle movements expands the potential for climate policy and supports system change. Yeah. Here's the link. You guys want to check it out by yourselves. We will be going over this. It's about 100 pages. So we are 92. We're doing great. And then we'll move to the leaked report. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Unfortunately, my voice is like dead. So I'm going to head out and let's see here. And we're gonna head on over to the chat. who is an excellent streamer when it comes to climate change. So they'll be much more, I would say, more knowledgeable than I am. So let's go give them a raid. I want to just take a moment to say thank you to all of you guys. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate the subscriptions, new follows, the biddies. Thank you so much, Alio, Heat, and Menu Frog. Thank you, White Dam, for the tier 1 subscription. Class Time with the Read subscription for 4 months. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to follow. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and comment and share and all that awesome stuff. If you guys want to take this conversation offline, there is the Discord. Yeah, join the YouTubes, join the Discord, do all the social media stuff, you know? I appreciate it. And my call to action, as always, spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Get into his DMs. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and join us on Saturdays for Saturday Catterdays around noon Eastern Time. How can we ever hope to overthrow capitalism without the earth to sustain us? Well, I think we should focus on what we can enact here and now, while we still have the time. I mean, clearly, I would say this takes precedent over almost anything. So we gotta do what we can within the time that we have, with the tools that we have. As always, guys, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya! Oh boy, my voice is dead. Hang tight with us, folks. We're heading out to Chap's channel. Show them some good vibes, alright? Show them some difficult truth love. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.